Hi, my name is Jason Sanders. I'm Managing Director of Flycast Recruiting, and I'd like to share with you today 5 steps that you can take to create a responsibility section for a position description that's outstanding. You get really good candidates with this, but it starts by looking at responsibility sections of position descriptions that are not so good. Don't worry, I'm not reading the whole thing. Just 3 bullet points. You'll get the picture. First one, I got to inhale deeply for this. Consult and partner with hiring managers, business leaders, and human resources to implement the talent acquisition process and understand the talent acquisition strategy for hiring needs at the professional and senior level within the line of business, LOBs, or business groups aligned to the respective zone. Okay. I'm reading this fast so that you don't fall asleep. All right, 2 more. Provide recruiting expertise and guidance to U.S. leadership within the organization. And be a true advisor and consultant to the business and identify passive candidates by direct sourcing, cold calling, strategic sourcing for hiring managers and leaders. Okay, this was the first position description that I pulled off of LinkedIn, the responsibility section only, and it's for a recruiter. So that was that. And then what I did was I took that and I spent 5 or 10 minutes and I put together a few paragraphs, much shorter. And I'm going to go through these and then I'll explain what I did with each sentence and why I think it's important. Now, keep in mind, I don't know this company, so I couldn't do it with the level of depth that I would do if I knew the company and what you'll be able to do within your own company, because you'll have a lot more interesting sort of spice to put in the middle of the sentences. But for now, this is what I've got. I'll explain as we go. First sentence, our company has tremendous growth goals, and we need an executive recruiter that is up for the challenge of leading our talent acquisition strategy. That's kind of an overarching sentence. And what it has to do with growth, not only growth, but tremendous growth, challenge, and strategy. And those are appealing things to a candidate. They start to set off, conscious and even subconscious things that tell you that this is something that you want to stand up and pay attention to. Okay. Second sentence. Right now, we need to hire at least 10 senior level professionals to get our initiative launched. Now, I made up the 10. I don't know about this company, because I took it directly from this, as you recall. I made up 10, but, this is the immediacy of hiring. Why do you want to hire this position now? 10, that's a lot right now. So it tells you that, that there is some urgency to this and some immediacy to this. Now, this is the longer term piece. This is the third sentence. In time, you will have responsibility for ensuring that we maintain the highest quality staff on the market. Now, the highest quality staff on the market is a decent goal. It's a goal that a lot of people have. This is something that you'll be able to change for your own organization because you'll know more and you'll be able to create a goal or a growth path that is beyond what I just wrote there, which is fairly generic. Okay, now we're moving on to the second paragraph. You will need to build relationships with candidates, with your team, with third-party recruiting firms, with new hires, and with senior business leaders within the company. This one is subtle. The reason why this is important is because it speaks to a strength that recruiters not only have, but which they value in themselves, and that is the ability to create relationships. That's something that recruiters think they do well, and we do well, I should say. And if you don't, you shouldn't be in recruiting. So it's kind of saying something that a person is going to have anyway. But the thing about it is that it's appealing and it's part of the responsibilities section. And so it's going to tell them that they're doing something that's of interest. It also shares some things beyond just the candidates and the team, having relationships with business leaders, with candidates after they're hired, and with third-party recruiting firms are all sort of interesting things that not all recruiters get to do. So that could be really interesting as well. All right, next sentence. This will give you a holistic view of the organization and offer the opportunity to provide leadership and advance as a core member of our team. That is the career case. That is the long-term view for this hire, and it's built right into the responsibilities section. It's subtle also, but it's important because you have to remember that hiring is a conversation and that you want to put things in that attract people, that reveal who you are, and that attract people to your organization. And then the very last sentence is, of course, you will need to handle day-to-day responsibilities around data, sourcing, and tools. And that one sentence takes out about half of this page all at once. And that is what allows you to get a qualification or responsibility section that's this short. So there you go. So now you're saying, Jason, that's great, but now how do I put that together for myself? Okay, now here are the 5 steps that you can use. First step, think of 3 projects that the new hire will work on right away. Just write them down. They probably come to you right off the top of your head. Step 2, choose one of those projects. Now, why is that? The reason is that most projects, at least if you pick 3 projects, you probably will have about 80% of the kind of work or the responsibilities overlapping among those 3 projects. So you don't necessarily need to have all of the minor detail that you would find in figuring out which of the project encompasses the most information or is the most critical or whatever. Just pick one of them, and we're going to use that as the backdrop for creating the responsibilities section. Step 3, you've got 3 questions to answer here that are all really critical. First one, why is this important in the short term? Why do you want to hire this person right now? This is immediacy. This is urgency. This is something that attracts people to the position, and it also lets them know that you're hiring this now and that the position isn't going to be there forever. So you act now or hold your peace, right? Okay. Second question, what will the new hire mean for the company? This sounds a lot like vision, doesn't it? It absolutely does. This is taking the person, the position, and fitting it into the overall context and the overall context of the vision of the company. This is really important. It creates a couple of things. It creates a sense of stability because you know where you stand, and it creates a sense of growth because if you see the vision for the company, you're going to start to see the vision for yourself. And then the third step, and this is what we call the WIFM, the what's in it for me, and that is, if the hire is successful, what will it mean for that person? What will it mean for him or her upon joining the company? And this has to do really specifically with the needs, the demands, the wants, the requirements, the dreams of the person who's going to join your organization. This is the part where hiring becomes a true conversation. It's really a back and forth here, and you're showing them why it's so great to join your company, not just because your company is so great, but because there's a path for them within your organization that is going to really attract them. At this point, you've got all of the raw material. All you need to do is to write it down into paragraphs. Create a story, create an arc. People love stories. It's human behavior to like stories. I mean, it's just a natural thing for people to gravitate towards. So create a narrative, create a story. Even while you're creating the responsibility section, it's going to really help you stand out because most of what you find is going to be like this, these long, boring descriptions. And really what you want is something that makes you more attractive. I've found that people respond over and over and over again well to our position descriptions because they get a fuller sense of what it is that the company needs. Finally, you're going to need to throw in a few of the small things. And in this case, I wrote it down in 3, there's sort of, summaries of particular points, responsibilities around data, sourcing, and tools. And what that does is it incorporates a lot of the things on this position description, which would be around service level agreements, frequently asked questions, interview guides, Talio applicant tracking database, and so forth. So you can sum that up and usually in about a sentence. And then you've got a great responsibilities section. If you would like more about how to attract the very best candidates, please download our free ebook. It is at flycastllc.com/ebook. And if you would like the answers to the 15 questions, subscribe to this channel.